All right, so today we are going to make a beneficial bacteria microbial solution, and we're going to apply that to the soil.
This creates a beneficial bacteria, and we're going to put that on our first watering, and that's going to help introduce the beneficial bacteria. It's also going to help that microbe that we introduced to the root system, and they're going to form that relationship with the roots and help feed the plant. I will make another video later on how to collect this stuff. It's very easy. Very easy. Hopefully, not everybody has a forest near them, unfortunately, so there's ways around that, but to those who have a forest, it's just simply just go in there and collecting it. So as I said, we'll make a video on how to do that. So
two ingredients to make, three ingredients to make this. First one is potato. Now I'm making 5-gallon bucket of this, so just a smaller, medium-sized potato. And I mean, look, it fits right in the palm of my hand. And as you can see, this one is already starting to get a little soft, getting wrinkly. Even if it had some sprouts on it, I still would use it anyway, as long as it's not moldy. That is the major. If there's any mold whatsoever, cannot use it for this. Although it could be to the point of being moldy, as long as it's not moldy, you can still use it. So what you want to do basically is just cut it up into little pieces. Okay. Once you get them, then you want to put it into a pot. All right, once the potatoes have been boiling for 25 minutes to 30 minutes, just shut them off and let them cool down. You give them at least 30 minutes. The next step is we're going to either put them into a food processor or blender, whichever one you have available, or whichever one you prefer. But you definitely want it cool enough so that way when you put it in there, especially if you're using a blender, that the contents aren't going to be too hot, and if you get any backsplash, it's not going to burn you or anything like that.
okay, it's been 30 minutes, and now we just want to pour our potatoes in there, juice and all. And then once that's in there, you want to add 1 tablespoon of sea salt. Okay, now this is very important, the salt. It has to be sea salt. Can't be table salt. Iodized salt is not going to work. It's got to be sea salt. This is what I use, and this stuff works well. But as I said, as long as it's real sea salt. Now we'll just put our lid on. And then we'll blend this up for a little bit. So this is what it looks like when it's all blended up. And it should be a little thick. If you do find that it's too thick and you can't pour it out here, you can always add just a little bit of water in there and blend that up. Just make sure that it's not tap water. You can't have any chlorine in it. So make sure that it's either distilled water, bottled water. You make sure some of the bottled water, make sure, sometimes they purify it with chlorine. So I would use either distilled water or just put your tap water out for at least 24 or 48 hours before you put any water into this, because you want these microbes to come in there and you don't want that chlorine to kill anything. That being said too, you want to use water in the next step that's not chlorinated as well. We have a 5-gallon bucket. I filled it roughly 3/4 full of water. And this water again is non-chlorinated water. This is water that I have sitting out. I always have usually minimum of 10 to 20 gallons of water that I have on aeration at all times, because you never know when you need it. between this and I have a big garden in the backyard too, so never know when I need water. So but anyways, what you want to do is get one of these painter strainers that they make for these 5-gallon buckets. All these are is these little mesh things, and they have this wonderful elastic on it, and it just fits right over. And then you want to pour your wonderful mixture in here. And you don't have to get all of it, just, you know, get the majority of it. Now here's the key ingredient that's going to make all of this turn into what we want it to. You're going to add in probably about well, in this case, 1 shovelful or 1 to 2 handfuls of leaf mold. And we'll get into what that is in a minute. Let me find a spoon. And then just give this a mix. Okay. You know what? Just take this off. And just like it's a big freaking tea bag. I'm going to do this for a little bit, and as I said, just act like it's just a big glass of tea. You want to get all of that stuff coming out, mixing in the water. You want those microbes that are in the leaf mold, and again, I'll get into that in a minute, and they'll start eating all the nutrients from the potatoes, and they'll feed these microbes. And these microbes will multiply. And when they multiply, you will know, because you will see a lot of activity going on. And at that point, we want to put that into and feed our plants with that. And that's going to introduce the microbes into our soil system that's in our plants. And those microbes help break down anything that's in the soil, nutrient-wise, and make it plant available. It just makes it easier for the plants to get access to whatever they need, whenever they need it. So, yeah, that's that. And then here is my leaf mold. It's been sitting here all winter, and I've kind of neglected it. There should be, I mean, not always, but sometimes you can have that white mycelium on the top. But this is basically decomposed leaves from the forest floor. And I will show you how to go get that when it's nice enough outside. It's not nice enough to go in the forest and collect this stuff yet, but I still have some left anyway. All I have here is a 5-gallon jug of water that I bought. Cut the top off, and I just bring this, and right before it gets too cold, I fill this up so I have enough for the winter, because this stuff is key. Okay, so now that we have this in here, we can put a top on it. You don't have to. This stuff doesn't matter if it's got oxygen or not, it'll still work. So I just put a lid on it because I have cats in the house that are assholes, and if they find this, it will not end well for the cat. So I just put this on here just for that reason. So we're going to put this someplace warm. The warmer the better. Somewhere between 74 and 8. If you can get it up to 80, that'd be perfect. This whole stuff you'll see the activity just within a couple days. My house right now is about 70, between 70 and 72. At night gets down to maybe 68. So it'll take a couple days for it to get where I need it to be, but that's okay because I got a lot going on right now. Work's a little busy, and yeah, there's just too much crap going on. So good thing is I won't have to water them for probably 4 days or so. So by the time this is done, it should be perfect time to water them. So And here we are, 48 hours later. It's starting to get active. This is what we want to see. We want to see the bubbles. We want a little more vigorous than this, though. Actually, we want a lot more vigorous than this. So we'll probably check back tomorrow. I'll give it another 24 hours or so. Mind you, the temperature in this room is roughly 74 right now. At night it gets down to 68. So if it was higher in here, and roughly if I can get it at 80 degrees, or if you put this on top of a heat mat, this will get to its peak a lot faster. Sometimes in a day and a half. I've had it gone that quickly. Typically about 2 days though, but and here we are, 72 hours, and bam, this is just exploded. So hold on, let me grab this. You can see, nice and thick foamy. There's a lot of life going on here. This is prime. I'm going to use this now. You want to mix this 6 ounces a gallon is what I usually use, and just water it in with your regular waterings. If you want to add newts to it, you can add your newts to it, and then if you pH by all means go ahead. But this will introduce some very, very beneficial bacteria into your soil, and it's going to help break down all your amendments in the soil faster and make it all plant available nutrients once those roots get to it, and make it so your plants have it right away. And here is the next morning. So as you can see, pretty much all the activity has gone down to nothing, and everything is just starting to die off. So this, if you had to, you could use it, but I mean, actually, this isn't optimal. You want to use it when it's all nice and at that peak. So, but at least this gives you an idea as to what to look for. And again, the hotter the environment, the warmer the environment, the faster this happens. It's been about 72 in my house, 74. So it did take a couple days, but I already know how to prepare for it. So I've been doing this for a while. So it usually matches up right when I water. So, but if not, then you can just give it a little bit of this anyway. It's not going to hurt if you just water just this. But
so that is how you make the microbial solution. Out in the garden, it's the very first thing that I put down before I plant anything. It readies the soil in preparation for me planting. So I've just incorporated inside the grow just like I would if I was growing outside. And it does just as good inside as it does outside. It does a little better outside because you've got a big, larger food chain web, but that's another story. But now it is the first thing I do once I transplant them from their little pods into their 5 gallons, and they're in their forever home for the rest of their doomed little lives. That's the first thing I do is water them with that. And then every 2 weeks, I try to give them some, if not at least once every 3 weeks max. Same thing on the garden. Every 2 weeks, every other week is when I give them more of this. So I just kind of coincide it for each indoor and outdoor. So it's pretty simple for me. As I said, if you don't have the garden, I mean, obviously I know I did a 5 gallon batch. So if you want to make less, just cut that in half. And then instead of using a tablespoon of the sea salt, just use a half a tablespoon of the sea salt. Just switch all in half, and at least that'll be a little more feasible for some people who are on a smaller scale. So I apologize. I need to make 5 gallons at a time. I have a lot of stuff. I have a garden outside, and then I've got this going on in here. So yeah, but that's how you make that.